Hello everyone and welcome back to the box office! This is the Labor Day weekend box office, and typically in history, this is not a very exciting or money-making box office because a lot of people tend to just kind of go to the beach and be lazy on Labor Day. So a lot of the chart, what we're going to see is very similar to last week, but there are a couple cool things to point out. First things first though, you're watching this on the Tuesday after the Labor Day weekend, but these numbers are just of the 3-day Labor Day weekend. I'm not including the additional Monday holiday numbers to that, just because I like to just do the domestic weekends even with the holidays, because the studios use that extra holiday day to kind of boost their numbers, and so there may be slight differences with the holiday number and where the rankings are with a couple of these placements, but for the most part, these will be the same. Just wanted to clarify, this is just the domestic total ending with September 1st on the weekend. And coming in first place is once again Deadpool and Wolverine, making a little over $15 million, only dropping 17% from week 5 to week 6. In second was Alien Romulus, dropping only 45% from week 2 to week 3, making another $9 million. It Ends With Us is still in the third spot, making $7.425 million, only dropping 36% from week 3 to week 4. Coming in just behind it was Reagan, the new Ronald Reagan biopic starring Dennis Quaid, making $7.4 million, and this placement with 3 and 4 might be different come the actual Monday holiday weekend numbers, where they include Monday, but of the traditional 3-day, it was just behind It Ends With Us in its first weekend. And then, surprisingly, in the 5th spot was Twisters, which increased 17% from last weekend in its 7th week, making another $7.1 million. Twisters hanging in there, I guess, over Labor Day weekend. People decided to go see Twisters, and the 17% increase is very surprising, especially given the fact that it's now available for premium video on demand for rent. This makes me happy to see, though. I love to see movies thrive in the theater, and I wish it would stay in as long as it can. Beyond the top 5, there are a couple more fun things to point out here. One is Blink Twice, a film that we saw and really loved. You can find the review on the channel. Only dropped 36% from week 1 to week 2, coming in 6th with $4.6 million. If it can maintain small drops like that, it can eventually turn out doing extremely well. The Forge, which was also in the top 5 last week, only dropped 31% from week 1 to week 2, making another $4.6 million. Despicable Me 4 only dropped 4%, and it is now at a worldwide number, diving into Despicable Me 4 first, of $913 million. It's going to end its theatrical run just shy of $1 billion, just like the second Minions film did. Afraid, in its opening weekend, the latest horror film from Sony, and I want to say Blumhouse was involved as well, only made $3.7 million in its opening weekend, which is a shame to see. I wasn't a huge fan of the marketing of this film, but usually these small horror films tend to do much better than this, and I think the poor performance this weekend is due to marketing. It's a shame to see. I hope the movie can eventually do better. And in 10th place, which I rarely do through the top 10, but I thought there was a lot of just interesting things going on, Inside Out 2 increased 36% from last weekend, making another $2.7 million in its 12th week, and its worldwide total is now at $1.6661 billion, making it officially the highest-grossing animated film of all time, finally surpassing the 2019 version of The Lion King, which, yes, is still an animated film. The really sad news from last weekend is The Crow dropped 61% from week 1 to week 2, only making another $1.8 million in its second weekend. It has a $50 million budget. It's not looking good for The Crow. Diving into more worldwide numbers, Deadpool and Wolverine now has $1.257 billion at the worldwide box office, which is 6.3 times that $200 million production budget. Good for Deadpool and Wolverine. I believe it is now the 7th highest grossing MCU film. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. Alien Romulus now has $283 million worldwide, and as predicted from our video last week, it has surpassed Alien Covenant to become the 2nd highest grossing Alien film in the franchise. It's looking right now unlikely that it will catch Prometheus's $402 million worldwide. However, I think it's definitely going to get $100 million domestic, and I think it's definitely going to at least get past 300, maybe in the 315 range. So a solid step up from the last film financially for the Alien franchise. it's going to be interesting to see how this grows. And comparative to its budget, on the $80 million budget, it's already made 3.5 times that budget back. It's well within the profitability range. Huge win for Disney. 2 in a row for Disney with Deadpool. We live in a world where Deadpool and Alien are the highest grossing Disney movies this week. It Ends With Us now has a worldwide total of $283 million worldwide as well. That will also likely get into the $300 million range on a budget of 25. 11.3 times that budget. Again, the financial success of this movie cannot be overstated. This is a huge win for everyone involved. If only the drama could set aside so they could get that sequel made, but of course we don't know the ins and outs of that drama. If something really bad happened on set, then obviously I don't want them to revisit that. But if it's something small, let's hope that for financial sake, they can make another one. Who knows if it'll be any good. Reagan only opened domestically, so it's still at that 7.4 million total, but it was made for a budget of 25 million, so it's only made about 0.3 times that budget back. That's not too surprising considering the target audience for that film is likely the same target audience for Kevin Costner's Horizon, which that audience post-COVID, kind of the senior citizen range of audience, has not gone back to the movie theater post-COVID at all. They have been watching stuff at home, waiting for streaming. That's kind of in their wheelhouse at this point. And interestingly enough, I genuinely don't know what will be the film or the thing that gets that audience back into the movie theater seats. Because a lot of them came out for the Top Gun sequel, but that Top Gun sequel had a lot more broad appeal. It wasn't just made for that demographic. It was made for pretty much all demographics. It was a 4-quadrant movie. So that's a little, it doesn't really count, I would say, for getting that audience back entirely because it wasn't made directly for them. What do you think it'll take to get them back into theaters? Leave it in the comments below. And Twisters now has a worldwide total of $356 million worldwide, 2.3 times that $155 million budget. It's just on the verge of profitability. If it keeps having increases like it did last week, then we can get there. But I see that as unlikely considering that, like I said, it is already on the PVOD platforms. And I feel like the bump was just to people on Labor Day catching up on movies they were behind on, mainly being Twisters. Now, next week is going to get really interesting because that sees the release of Beetlejuice, which I think the early tracking is for an over $100 million domestic debut, which would be crazy awesome for Warner Brothers. So we're definitely going to see where Beetlejuice ends up landing on the chart. I definitely predict that it will open first. I don't think this chart's going to change much other than that. It's going to depend on the hold that Reagan will have. But what are your predictions for the top 5 box office next week? I'd love to see them in the comments below, and if you're right, I'll shout you out on the video next week. Also, speaking of Beetlejuice, please be on the lookout for our review. It should be posting on Wednesday, the 4th. That's, of course, assuming everything goes to plan, and sometimes everything simply doesn't. That will do it for the box office this weekend, guys. A bit of a slow week, but we're going to bounce back into the fall movies, and we're definitely going to get into Oscar season, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week.